USL Championship. Two Texas teams stand tall and proud. But each year, there's a showdown with more at stake than just bragging rights. Each year, they go head-to-head. Toe-to-toe. And more besides. Because it's not just about the final score. It's about who gets to add their name and lift Copa Tejas. Welcome to downtown El Paso, Texas, Southwest University Park on a sunny, warm July 4th afternoon and evening. And a happy Independence Day to you and to yours. Duke Keith with you here from Southwest University Park. Locomotive FC returning to action at home after a nice 2-week layoff. It was much needed. Locomotive getting a big victory on the road at Monterey Bay, 2-1 win last we saw, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But the good news for Locomotive is even though they had the week off, they're still second place in the Western Conference. As for their opponents tonight in this Copa Tejas clash, San Antonio FC in fourth place in the Western Conference coming into tonight's match. Let's get to last weekend's or 2 weekends ago. The action in the Bay as Los Locos snapped a 3-match winless streak and a 300-plus minute scoreless stretch. With a 2-1 win at Monterey Bay, Locomotive getting back to its old ways as one of the top attacking teams in the USL, scoring another early goal. Great momentum headed into tonight's match, Copa Tejas clash, as Los Locos will be well rested.
That kept us on top of the table for the Western Conference and gave us the possibility to go to that break with a good mentality. We needed that after the loss here at home against Aussie. We needed to recover.
After opening 2025 with a 6-match unbeaten streak at home, Locomotive has lost 2 straight at Southwest University Park. They're looking to get back to their winning ways at home tonight. Meanwhile, San Antonio FC jumping back into USL Championship play for the first time since June 21st. They won 2 Jägermeister Cup matches last week versus Colorado Springs and Union Omaha. The 2022 USL champions currently in 4th place in the West. Jorge Hernandez has been dealing with an injury, but leads the way with 7 goals. Goalkeeper Richard Sanchez tied for second in the league with 5 clean sheets as well. San Antonio looking for its first win over El Paso in 2 seasons. It's the 4th of July, plus a Copa Tejas showdown. Expect some extra fireworks tonight in the Sun City. It's 2025 USL Championship Soccer coming up next.
Well done, well done.
Celebrate the 4th of July all month long with Fun Country RV. Find huge discounts this month on boats and RVs. Get that perfect boat from Fun Country RV, where you'll find a huge selection like Landau, G3, and Viaggio. Fun Country RV is the largest parts dealer in the Southwest. Check out our parts and service department for all your boat and RV needs. Take the Anthony Exit 0 to Fun Country RV or find us online at funcountryrvs.com.
I'm a 25-year truck driver. I've been driving for Rivas Enterprises for 6. I have 1 million miles. I'm home every weekend. The benefits and the respect that you get in this company is outstanding. If you're looking for a place to call home, call Rivas Enterprises.
He trabajado en otras compañías, pero desde que estoy trabajando para Rivas Enterprises siento que es la mejor compañía del Paso, Texas. El ambiente de trabajo, el compañerismo, los beneficios. Es un trabajo muy bonito aquí en Rivas Enterprises.
3, 2, 1. Yeah!
big way into stronger. Dylan Harris for the second time this year.
Welcome to Southwest University Park on this Independence Day evening. It is a beautiful night in the Sun City. Duke Keith with you here from El Paso, Texas, in this Copa Tejas clash as we take a look at your starting lineups. First for Locomotive FC, and welcome back Jamali Waite, back between the pipes for Wilmer Cabrera and Locomotive FC, and of course that three-headed monster up top, Moreno, Avila, and Cabrera, along with the great midfield, Alfaro and Akwe at the back. For San Antonio FC, it's notable about who's not there. Number 10, Jorge Hernandez. For Carlos Llamosa's squad coming into this one at 6-5-3. San Antonio, Locomotive, exactly the reverse of that in terms of losses and ties, 6-3-5, 23 points, second place in the Western Conference as we get ready to go here tonight from El Paso, Texas. The first of the two regular season matchups, the second one coming late in the season in the Alamo City, as Locomotive FC taking on their Copa Tejas rivals in San Antonio. Very happy you could join us. Happy July 4th to you and to yours. We are underway from Southwest University Park. Richard Sanchez, who's had a solid season as the backstop for San Antonio FC, gets the ball. And a throw in for Locomotive FC in their graffiti kits. As the shadows stretch here at Southwest University Park. San Antonio, not a great start, and of course now they're dealing with injuries, but they've really started to make a turn for the better over these last few weeks. And of course, as we pointed out in pregame, a couple of Jägermeister Cup wins this last week over Colorado Springs, and former El Paso Locomotive assistant coach Dominic Casciato and Union Omaha. That's a good stretch. And a solid effort from the middle for San Antonio, Juan Agudelo. Not a lot of drop-off between Jorge Hernandez and Agudelo, of course, has massive MLS experience. Hernandez with those 7 goals. Luke Hawkinson, second on the San Antonio leaderboard with 3. Alex Grieve, the only other San Antonio FC player, though, with more than 1 goal this season with a pair. But an early challenge from the visitors. So we take a look at our Team Casa keys to the match. Keep that mojo rolling. El Paso snapped a losing streak, goalless streak last time out on the road, then got a 2-week break. You want to see that performance from Monterrey bottled up and brought back to El Paso, Texas. The other part is wearing San Antonio down. San Antonio played twice last week when El Paso was off and is dealing with some knocks in key spots. And at altitude, it's about 3,900 to 4,000 feet here at Southwest University Park. Locomotive trying to get to them early, but San Antonio staying on the front foot in the Locomotive half so far. Good pressure. Yields the ball. And an easy cross will come out all the way to the other side. Kept in. Reese Buckmaster. Off of Calvillo. Which ball do we pick up? And rediscover that home attack. El Paso scored 19 goals in its first 6 home matches across all competitions. That's our third Casa key to the match. None of the last 2, though. Time to get back to those early season ways at home, which they did on the road, notably at Monterey Bay. Opening goal in the first 15 minutes of the match. It's a good step. Down is Jake LaCava. Play on, says Thomas Snyder, a referee. We'll get to our match officials as things settle down. Locomotive, that is out off of Torres for another San Antonio throw. Thomas Snyder is our center ref. Art Arastamian and Alexander Arita are the assistant referees. Abdul Razak Juma is our fourth official tonight. All the way back and around. Luke Hawkinson. Good switch of play. It's easily stopped by Alvaro Quesada out on the wing. That's a great outlet ball to Cabrera, shaking his way loose. The cross from Avila right there at the 6. Easy grab in the end for Richard Sanchez, but Beto Avila, Wilmer Cabrera, and Quesada at the back beautifully worked up the right wing for Locomotive. First real foray into the San Antonio attacking end. Kind of split the difference between Armando Moreno and Wilmer Cabrera. That's a great step into the action by the team captain, Eric Calvillo. But Frank DeRoma not able to hook up with Avila. And out for a goal kick. Now that the ball is in the San Antonio end, you expect El Paso to kind of pick up the pressure a bit. Into the 6th minute tonight on this July 4th Friday. Jimmy Medranda. It's a good challenge. San Antonio throw. Cabrera doing work defensively. It's actually going to be a foul. Foul whistled by Thomas Snyder. And Locomotive with a free kick on the restart to DeRoma. I think the spacing was off. That's Carlos Llamosa, the head coach for San Antonio. Obviously knows Wilmer Cabrera very well. Played a bit at the late great Chivas USA. Okay, late. We'll leave it at that. Cabrera, notably the final coach before that team went under. That is all the way up the left wing side, and the flag is up on Eric Calvillo. Llamosa, Colombiano, as is Cabrera. Both played on the Colombian national team in their playing days. Long and distinguished career as a player in the early days of Major League Soccer and elsewhere in his native Colombia as a player and a defender. Wilmer Cabrera capped for his nation's team in his playing days. Missed the 94 opener, missed the 1994 World Cup, I should say. Notable for a lot of American national team fans for that victory over Colombia. Out with an injury was Wilmer Cabrera in 1994. They'll work it around to Medranda. Lofted ball straight to Quesada. Cabrera. Nice pass, just missed. Avila still loose and lofted out. It will be a corner kick. They got one on a second action. Wahab Akwe 2 weeks ago at Monterey Bay. That was the opener. And here is Gabi Torres. They'll play it short. Calvillo. Torres. Lofted. Edge of the 6. Tainter. Mitch Tainter, former USL Defender of the Year. Of course, San Antonio has something that Locomotive would love to have. You can talk about Copa Tejas all you want, but USL Championships are what both of these teams are about. That's a little too far ahead of Moreno. Goal kick coming. San Antonio winners in 2022. What a dominant season for San Antonio FC. We do want to take this opportunity to send our best wishes to the folks in San Antonio. Obviously, that entire area, especially up in Kerrville, in the Hill Country, devastating flooding going on right now. And if you're in the middle of it, please stay safe. Stay well. Don't drive into standing water, things you've probably heard ad nauseum by now. But we certainly send all of our best wishes, prayers, and love to the folks in Bexar County and the surrounding Hill Country areas. Mosa whistled for the foul, or pardon me, Medranda. So Locomotive, after some very early pressure by San Antonio, seems to have settled in over the final, or the last 5 minutes or so. El Paso 4-2-2 at home, but they've lost their last 2 home matches, trying to get back to winning ways tonight. And another foul earned. $19 goals in their first 5 home matches for Locomotive FC, but none in their last 2. They would like to rectify that tonight. Set themselves up for pole position in the Copa Tejas. That spills away. Wahabakwe knocked off the ball. Dangerous and in for the goal. It's just that easy. Juan Agudelo, on a dreadful mishap at the back, makes El Paso pay. Completely against the run of play, the MLS veteran. 32 years young, smashes that one off the top bar. Bar down and in. And he had all the time in the world to set up for exactly what he wanted to do. San Antonio in the 11th minute has snatched a 1-0 lead. Carlos Llamosa, as you see, former men's national team player for 9 years. Heard people talk about him in other broadcasts that he's such a solid body, so hard to throw off the ball, and we certainly saw that. Wahab Akwe is no lightweight, and he bounced off of Juan Agudelo, and Agudelo makes El Paso pay. His 9th goal with San Antonio. '49 career MLS goals with the New England Revolution back in 2017. 7 goals last year for Birmingham, though. Or when he played at Birmingham, and has been an absolutely solid addition for Carlos Llamosa. Saw Llamosa on the touchline, staying calm. It's like he's just kind of waiting for the shadows to creep across and hit the opposite side touchline here at Southwest University Park. Not much phases that man. But certainly happy with the way things are going for the visitors. Richard Sanchez. Key player for the Mexican national under-21 team, under-17 team in 2011. Won the FIFA U17 World Cup on home soil. First time they'd ever done that. With Sanchez at the back. Signed a contract with FC Dallas in 2011. Part of that system when it was an incredibly productive youth system. Things have kind of fallen off the pace a little bit for FC Dallas, but of course El Paso and Ricardo Pepi, a key product of that system. Quite a pipeline. That's physical, and is a foul, according to Thomas Snyder. Moreno taken down by Buckmaster. Auburn, Indiana's own Reese Buckmaster. Got a birthday coming up this week. 28-year-old. Coming to San Antonio from Hartford Athletic. Quesada, nicely worked by El Paso, trying to get something going up that right wing. Avila does well to stick with it. Cabrera, it's out off of his foot for a San Antonio throw. San Antonio, fourth place in the Western Conference. Live standings, this would certainly vault them into second position depending on what else happens, and that was a hand to the face. Took a while for Thomas Snyder to call it, but call it he did. Agudelo, absolutely physical, and receives a yellow card as Robert Coronado. We talked about Agudelo's solid body. How about that to the throat? Certainly not looking, but that's too physical. Now they're saying the caution is issued to Mitch Tainter. So I don't know if that was for dissent. It was Agudelo. See, okay. Yeah, Juan Agudelo committed the foul. If it was Tainter, it would be for dissent, not the first one he's received for that. But it is indeed number 17. Things have kind of settled into the midfield for both sides. Juan Agudelo the difference. A mishandle by Wahabak way at the back on just an awkward bit of defensive work by Locomotive entirely. Leads to Agudelo's goal. Locomotive committing the foul. Free kick coming for San Antonio. Nicky Hernandez stands over the ball, but it'll be chopped in. Far post, easy grab for Jamali Waite. Off the foot of Medranda. So Locomotive playing from behind as they did versus Orange County. Couldn't muster the offense versus OCSC 3 weekends ago. With plenty of opportunity to get something working, though notably we are past that key opening 15 minutes for Locomotive, midway through the 18th. Shadows finally reaching the far side touchline as the skyline, I'm sure, will be well lit tonight in El Paso, Texas, as it is in a lot of Texas cities. It's chopped in over the head. Hawkinson, nice idea. Looking for Hawkinson in the box. The pass goes long, and it will be a Locomotive throw. We are basically at the midway point of the USL season. Andy Cabrera, torrid first half as any player in Locomotive history. 12 goals across all competitions, 10 in the USL Championship, second in the league. 6 goals in May, a club record. He needs just 7 in the second half to break the club record, single season club record set by a man who has played for both of these sides, Lucho Solignac. Cabrera also has 2 assists, the USL Player of the Month in May, leading the USL with 9 non-penalty goals. And penalty kicks are goals too, but yeah, there's a bit of a difference. I'm sure Wilmer Cabrera, Dad, would love to find a way to get his son loose tonight. Andy Cabrera has touched the ball a few times, but not lately. Haven't seen a lot of touches. San Antonio, I think, has done a decent job up that right wing, and that's troubling. Jamali Waite is down at the back for Locomotive. A little nod to the doc. Cody Simmons, the head athletic trainer, on to take a look at the Jamaican international, Jamali Waite. It is both great and sad to have Jamali back. Locomotive starting netminder missed last month on international duty with Jamaica for the World Cup qualifiers and the Gold Cup. If he's still gone, that means he's still playing, which obviously is not the case. As the U.S. men's national team and Mexico, El Tri, battling tomorrow. He and his wife also had a baby in late May, so congratulations to them, and certainly hope Jamali is all right. 24 saves, 1 clean sheet this season for El Paso. Obviously, that is out the window for this evening. But I know defensively, that is something the Locomotive players would love to give their keeper. More clean sheets in the season. Had a whole parcel of them. Last year, Locomotive very defensive. Did what they could on a team that just did not score goals. But happy to welcome him back, and he doesn't seem the worst for wear. Any worse for wear. There you see Wilmer Cabrera trying to find a gear offensively. Dropped ball. Back for Richard Sanchez. They'll play it short. Lofted up to the middle. That's a good bounce. Excellent movement. Medranda lays it back. Soto to the right side. Prognale over the top. Lofted in. Great movement. Agudelo just ahead of that pass from Buckmaster from right wing. Dangerous. Locomotive trying to stretch it on the counter to Moreno, and blasted out up the pitch by Richard Sanchez. Eighth Notch trying to fire up the home side. Always standing in section 105. I'm sure they'll be happy for the Shadows when they hit over in that corner. Not quite there yet. It's a warm evening. We are told we will have a hydration break coming up about the 30th minute, at least for the first half. San Antonio throw coming. Should be notable or noted that San Antonio missing not only Jorge Hernandez, but Nelson Blanco, Mohamed Omar, Juan Osorio, Luis Paredes, Diogo Pacheco. Quite a few knocks for the San Antonio FC squad. It's just at the time when And they were taking some strides forward. This is a team, again, that played twice last week. Coronado, that's another giveaway. Oh, just dreadful work at the back again. The cross, winning a corner on that right-hand side, Lacava. Lacava off of Alfaro. Good stretch across. And Tony Alfaro, a former MLS man, won an MLS Cup with Seattle back in the late 2010s. Upset at the way that was given up. And Locomotive has had a couple of very shaky moments. We talked about San Antonio's injuries, obviously. Palermo Ortiz missing for Locomotive FC, the man on loan from Locomotive sister club, FC Juarez Bravos. Injured in the first half versus Monterey Bay. And subbed out. Waite gets a piece of that. Is that a try for an Olympico by Jimmy Medranda? Waite with a punch away. And it looks as if a corner is coming from the other side. Medranda's the man to take him. 5'5" Colombiano, 31 years old. Comes to San Antonio from Deportivo Cali. Oh, it was a throw. Offside flag is up. And so Wahab Akwe gets us restarted. It's a good try by Cabrera to get a foot in. Akwe wins that one in the air and commits the foul in the process. High flying, and he takes out Nicky Hernandez. Nicky Hernandez coming to San Antonio after a couple of seasons with New Mexico United. Former SMU Mustang. Great collegiate soccer program on the men's side for SMU. It's Medranda on the restart. That's one in the air. Lacava's trying to get on it. Bounces. Trying to scoop it back to Mitch Tater. To no avail for Croniale. And a great counterattack. DeRoma has to pull up a bit. DeRoma chipped ahead. Moreno. Cabrera at the edge of the 6. Great grab. Off his line, Richard Sanchez. And Sanchez, they are calling for the trainer to come on and take a look with the collision. Andy Cabrera trying to get something on that. And that's unfortunate timing for the keeper. For the keeper, Richard Sanchez. Bodies flying everywhere, including Cabrera. Staying down, though, is Sanchez. And he is being looked at. By Alex Saldana. Cabrera will pick up a yellow card for that effort. Frankly, I'm not sure about that. And there was a collision, but both players going for the ball, and I think Richard Sanchez has sprung a leak. That is unfortunate, and it's a head contact with the cleats. But it was unfortunate timing because that ball from Moreno was right at the edge of the 6-yard box. 5 clean sheets this year, but you can see he is going to need some additional help. Assistant trainer Alex Alanya on to take a look. I think Jesse Lawrence is coming on to help out for San Antonio. So, looks like this will be the hydration break. So let's do Beasley, Mitchell and Company crunching the numbers. 25 is the number. 25 interceptions for Gabi Torres, who leads the USL in interceptions. 84 duels won in his first year with the club, coming over from Phoenix Rising. He has been an incredible addition, the Brazilian, for this Locomotive squad. Some great defensive work. That is crunching the numbers, brought to you by Beasley, Mitchell and Company, and 25 is a good number for Gabi Torres. They are still tending to Richard Sanchez down inside his 6-yard box. I think it's just a matter of a quick stitch, sadly. So Cabrera picks up a yellow card. How big a part that will play, I don't know, but certainly I think you can call a foul. A yellow card, a caution, to me is perhaps a bit harsh, because I think both players were entitled to go for the ball. Sadly for Richard Sanchez, as a keeper, he's got to get down and stop that. For Andy Cabrera, he's trying to get down and poke that a little further ahead. Carlos Llamosa. Might they have to make a substitution? Daniel Nemani is your backup keeper tonight. It looks like he is off the bench. Well, that's unfortunate. But good to see Sanchez sitting up now. Locomotive training staff and medical staff on to help out. Nemani out of Sugar Land, Texas, getting some reps, and it looks like they're going to sub him in. Well, that's unfortunate for San Antonio and Carlos Llamosa. Well, you never want to have to substitute your keeper. If anybody's a 90-minute player, it starts at the back. But Daniel Nemani will come on. Sugar Land native, played for Incarnate Word. Had a couple of cup appearances and will be called upon here to replace the starting keeper, Richard Sanchez. Yeah, and they're officially signaling for a change. So obviously more than just the scrape and the cut, as they are afraid there might be a head injury to starting keeper Richard Sanchez. Certainly hope he's going to be well, but Nemani coming in to replace him, and that's the life of a keeper. Sometimes you're not particularly challenged, not called upon, and then all of a sudden you've got to stick your nose in everybody's business. He seems to be okay, but I think with the head injury, and obviously doesn't seem to be anything regarding a concussion, but there might be a little medicinal work to be done in the locker room. As Daniel Nemani gets ready to come in to replace Richard Sanchez. So an extended break. We've already stopped for over 5 minutes. I am sure there will be quite a bit of stoppage time, and Daniel Nemani has got to come in and get it going here for San Antonio FC. Other than that particular play that sadly injured Sanchez, Locomotive has had maybe one serious other stab at that San Antonio area. San Antonio FC has, I think, done a solid job defensively, and it will be a goal kick for Nemani. So back and underway. USL on ESPN2 gives Western Conference match between Lexington SC and last season champions winners Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Friday, June 20th at 7 p.m., 5 p.m. Mountain on ESPN2. And we are hearing that that was indeed a concussion sub. So with the head injury, Richard Sanchez didn't look the worse for wear, but obviously the medical staff says otherwise. So rely on those who know. And Richard Sanchez will be tended to. Serious enough that he was still holding his head, still holding a towel to his head as he came off the pitch. And certainly hope he is well enough. Native of Mission Hills, California, giving way to Daniel Nemani, the man from Sugar Land. "28 years old, obviously, if he played at Incarnate Word. Familiar with the San Antonio area. I think part of that yellow card to Andy Cabrera is you want to protect the keepers, and that certainly was playing into Thomas Snyder's thinking, especially with the severity of the injury. So Andy Cabrera on a yellow. As Locomotive, that is a tackle on Eric Calvillo and a foul. Calvillo's down. Draw some whistles and boos from the crowd. Lucio Berron, man from Santa Fe, Argentina. Played his college soccer with Creighton. Locomotive back and underway with possession. Can they do anything with it? That's solid effort. Once again up that right wing, Beto Avila bounces that one forward, but it's not going to be able to reach the ball. Tainter had it well covered. And Daniel Nemani taking no chances. Cabrera. Uncharacteristically. Oh, look at that move from Frank DeRoma. So hard to bring off the ball. Uncharacteristically shaky in the early going in the back line. We can talk about what happens as things progress for Locomotive, which hasn't done the best of jobs down the stretch keeping goals out, but that one is a wounded duck, easily handled by Daniel Nemani. You don't usually see that in the early going, but that's where we stand right now. Locomotive FC. The goal in the 11th minute from Juan Agudelo. Agudelo's had a heck of a first half. A goal in the 11th minute, caution in the 15th. Like soccer's version of a Gordie Howe hat trick. These two teams have seen their share of Gordie Howe-like antics from time to time. A couple of years ago, game ended in rancor between these two sides after a 2-1 San Antonio win. That's a great interception. There's another one for Gabi Torres. Overlapping run. Torres to the far post. Falling away. Didn't get that one to settle down. And it will fly out of touch for San Antonio on the other side. So unless he has another in this match, which he may well possibly, it's interception number 26 for Gabi Torres. Such a force for Locomotive this season. 40th minute, Locomotive FC, San Antonio FC. Right now, the visitors in the driver's seat. May 16th, the last time Locomotive put one in the net here in front of the home crowd. Good cross, Coronado. Actually, no. Good thought, but nobody in powder blue on the other side. The USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for complete USL TV listings. 41st minute here in El Paso. And the fans waiting for the home side to get something started. Good movement again. A little too far ahead. Avila's touch deserts him a bit there. Play on, says the referee. Out it comes. The shot up and over the bar. Jamali Waite coming out to challenge. Another hard challenge on the other side. Waite is down. Akwe is down. I think that's Lacaba down for San Antonio. That's Hawkinson. So Hawkinson there to try and put one in. And players are down right and left. It's not been a good night for the netminders. The Jamali Waite going down to take a breather earlier in the first half. Of course, Richard Sanchez has been subbed off. That is a concussion substitution for San Antonio. Daniel Namani taking his place. As we see the contact made, and Hawkinson just now getting to his feet. Wahab Akwe still down. But receiving the attention from head trainer Cody Simmons is Jamali Waite. This is Waite's return to his club side, and he seems to be okay. Locomotive just, it seems to me, trying to get things into gear as we see Wilmer Cabrera looking for answers for his side. It'll be another San Antonio corner. All hands on deck to stop Hawkinson. With the second corner of our first half for San Antonio FC. Again, if you're just catching up, Juan Agudelo. Defensive miscue for Locomotive in the back leads to an Agudelo goal in the 11th minute. Richard Sanchez, San Antonio starting goalkeeper, subbed off in the 34th after a run-in with Wilmer Cabrera. Cabrera issued the yellow card after that collision. Whipped into the near posts and out. Goal kick. Jamali Waite trying to get this one started quickly. Lofts it up and over. Route 1 work. It's going to bounce to DeRoma. Advantage played as DeRoma keeps possession. 1 against 2. Rolls it nicely. Cabrera lifts one. Has to be turned aside. Great save, Mamani. Lifted out for Locomotive corner. Down in the back. That was a foul. Advantage played as Beto Avila went down in behind. Great work by Thomas Snyder, our referee, to let play continue. DeRoma. We miss his fancy footwork, but Andy Cabrera showing off some of his own to get that shot. We're hearing 9 minutes of stoppage, which is about right. So plenty of this first half left to go as Locomotive tries to find a toehold back into this game. Eric Calvillo. Torres there as well if they want to play it short. They do. To bring it out, Calvillo into the near post. But Akwe, I don't know if he didn't think he needed to move a little faster or what. It did take a tip. It's another corner kick coming. But that was right in front of Wahab Akwe. And there's the official signal. 9 minutes of stoppage time. Another short corner. Calvillo drives one. That is not on target. But it'll bounce Quesada's way. Off the right foot. Shot by Cabrera. Blocked. And the offside flag goes up. So let's take a look. That first short corner, Calvillo whips one in right at the edge of the 6, and if Akwe had been a half step closer, that's a goal. It's tied. With that half step, I think, on both ends of the pitch is the difference in our match tonight. Juan Agudelo was ready. Not the same as Diego Luna's opener versus Guatemala in the semifinals, but along the same lines. First to react to it. Juan Agudelo really kind of making his own path after the defensive miscue allowed by Locomotive FC. Good work by Calvillo to win that back as it slipped away from an excellent tackle. Springs the counter. Up the right-hand side, Moreno on the right. Moreno rolls one. Oh, trying to slip it over to Quesada. A little 1-2 by Calvillo, and it's off of the team captain for a San Antonio throw. ...103 appearances all time for the team captain, Eric Calvillo, which is the club record. You didn't think anybody was ever going to beat Yuma, did you? Eric Calvillo did this year. It's a great stretch by Lacaba. Working it around Soto to the right. And in the back, Croniale goes down, but San Antonio keeps possession. Whipped in from right wing. That is too far for Hawkinson, but he'll keep it in play. Whipped back. Hawkinson headed out. Calvillo. Straight it comes to Croniale. Dramatic in the box. Play on, says our referee. It's a good keep to keep it in play by Moreno. Calvillo. Coronado. One of his first touches in a while. Gets it to the right man, Eddie Cabrera. And waiting to see who came up with the ball. Thomas Snyder will whistle the foul and issue the yellow card to Jimmy Medranda. So Medranda picking up yellow here in the 49th minute. Into our 4th minute of 9 added. A lengthy delay as they tended to Richard Sanchez and Jamali Waite has been down a couple of times. After the contact there, Thomas Snyder did the wise thing again and waited to see who was going to come up with the ball. San Antonio has possession. So a Locomotive free kick forthcoming. Calvillo and Daruma at the back. Restart goals, either primary or secondary actions for Locomotive this season. Calvillo sprays it far side. Alfaro got ahead to it, but they weren't able to keep it in play, and a foul. We'll give it back to San Antonio. Into the 51st minute coming up. The 6th of 9 added. Here at the end of the first half in El Paso. Signs of life for the home side, frankly. But that half step, I don't know if the layoff is, some teams respond better than others, perhaps. You'd figure Locomotive would have the fresher legs coming off a week layoff, while San Antonio played twice in the Jägermeister Cup last week, but the visitors have been the much sharper team so far, keeping it in for another effort. That one bounces. Nicky Hernandez tries that. Jamali Waite to cover. Agudelo. Wow, doing work. But so is El Paso. Don't take him on head-to-head. But if you can get around the concussion substitution, that means it will not count against San Antonio's total. It also means that Locomotive will have a 6th substitution available to them in those substitution windows should they choose to make them. Fair is fair. Sanchez is off, replaced by Namani, and this is honestly a wonderful rule. Very helpful, especially with head injuries, which are, soccer's not like any other sport. Once you're on the pitch, you don't come off until it's time, and especially keepers expected to be 90-minute players. And so the temptation is, you want to leave somebody on, and obviously if you've used up all your substitutions and somebody suffers a concussion, then what? This takes care of that. So a good rule change. Richard Sanchez, we certainly hope for a speedy recovery from his injuries. He looked okay. Relative to being hit in the head by a cleat, I'm sure I wouldn't feel the best either. Let's be honest. But up under his own steam, and did have the help of the medical staff, and it is a concussion substitution. Quesada. Alfaro. It's decent to Torres, up and over the top. Flag stays. Nope. Flag goes up. That one was a little closer, but Moreno just ahead of that back line. Our ARs, Art Aristamian, Alexander Arita, doing some work. Got to think this might be the final kick of our first half of play. We'll play on a little bit longer. Locomotive. That's a missed pass. San Antonio back with it. Making hay just a little ahead of La Cava. Wait quickly. Cabrera. Medrano, oh, that's a shirt pull and a half. It was indeed spotted in a free kick. That was almost comical, the way Andy Cabrera's shirt stretched as Luke Hawkinson grabbed a hold. Thought I was watching a Roadrunner cartoon. So the free kick for Locomotive FC. And I think that's it for the first half. The foul is going to end the action. San Antonio taking a 1-0 lead into the locker room. They have not won in El Paso since 2021. But they carry the lead into halftime. 1-0 San Antonio FC over Locomotive FC. As Locomotive back to the drawing board to try and make the changes they need to make to get something out of this Copa Tejas clash. Carlos Llamosa's squad in the catbird seat, headed to the locker rooms. At the break, Locomotive FC 0, San Antonio FC 1.
You can buy a new car anywhere. What makes Casa different? The trust we've earned along the way. 55 years later, we're still growing bigger to serve you better. Now with 16 trusted brands. From everyday value to luxury and performance, with thousands to choose from all under one roof. And with our Casa Advantage, you get peace of mind with lifetime powertrain protection, free home delivery, and Casa's 7-day return policy. Bigger brands, better value, and the name you can trust. Casa, the home of the nice guys. Yeah!
Celebrate the 4th of July all month long with Fun Country RV. Find huge discounts this month on boats and RVs. Get that perfect boat from Fun Country RV, where you'll find a huge selection like Landau, G3, and Viaggio. Fun Country RV is the largest parts dealer in the Southwest. Check out our parts and service department for all your boat and RV needs. Take the Anthony Exit 0 to Fun Country RV or find us online at funcountryrvs.com.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah!
Elijah Guile up and over in a big way.
Stronger, Dylan Harris for the second time this year.
With more traffic back on El Paso highways, the potential for serious accidents is back too.
Insurance companies giving you the runaround? That's old news. What's real news is a lawyer who's got your back. I was born in El Paso, and I've been on the side for injured El Pasoans for over 20 years. I'm attorney Alexandria Zant. Call me today, and I'll give you the real scoop about your case.
Zant Law Firm, 799-0993. Or find us online at zantlawfirm.com.
It all started with one couple's vision to farm pistachios in the desert. 50 years later, that dream lives on in heart of the desert, New Mexico's first and largest pistachio grove. The farm's success also fuels the dreams of other New Mexico entrepreneurs. Small batch bakers and ice cream and candy makers create delicious goodies from the farm's pistachios. A local winemaker produces quality wine from the farm's grapes. Heart of the Desert Pistachio and Wine. You can taste the tradition. Locations in Alamogordo, Mesilla, and Las Cruces.
Welcome back to Southwest University Park. San Antonio FC leading at the break 1-0 over Locomotive FC as we take a look at some of the news and notes around the league. Western Conference standings first for you. New Mexico United. This is live. Let's see. New Mexico United, 25 points to start tonight. They were losing at Pittsburgh headed into the second half. So Locomotive in prime territory to take the full 3 points, which could have vaulted them to first place, or at least a tie in terms of points. That depends on how things go the rest of the way. But San Antonio FC poised to make a jump up. As we take a look at the upcoming schedule, next week on the Golazo Network, Locomotive FC taking on Sacramento FC. Orange County versus Monterey Bay. As things start to get really tough in the Western Conference, which is tough enough. San Antonio FC and Tampa Bay doing battle. And Loudoun versus Pittsburgh. Riverhounds SC. on the CBS Sports Network. Roots securing their training headquarters. This is the old Raiders facility. Long-term extension of the training facility from the former Oakland Raiders headquarters. They're in suburban, the San Francisco Bay Area. Oakland Roots, really wonderful. The strides they have made, and of course playing in the Coliseum there in Oakland. Double, triple. Rhode Island's FC Albert Dequa and Phoenix Rising's Charlie Dennis. Hat tricks in Jägermeister Cup matches. So big results. And double, triple in Charleston Battery, adding to an already stacked team. Battery signed midfielder Jeremy Kelly to a multi-year contract from EFL League One club Crawley Town. So the Charleston Battery adding to the battery, so to speak. 1-0 at the break here in downtown El Paso. San Antonio FC over Locomotive. Back with highlight stats and more after this.
Wait, come back! Wait, come back, I need more help.
Take a load off it. Take a load for free.
Today we went to the beach, and it was totally worth it. Stay 3 nights this summer at Best Western and get $50 off a future stay.
What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water unique? It's our commitment to making our bottles from at least 50% recycled plastic. In fact, Crystal Geyser is the only beverage company in the U.S. to exclusively own and operate 2 plastic recycling facilities. And you can help us make an impact too by always remembering to recycle your bottles. Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water. Simple, but not easy.
Success doesn't come easy. It takes grit, hustle, and relentless effort. Every step forward brings you closer to greatness. This is your moment. Elevate your game. El Jimador, Spiked Bebidas.
This week on USL All Access, is it really possible that an end-of-year meeting in 2019 helped shape and shift the entire championship transfer market? Head coach Ben Pierman of the Charleston Battery joins us to say, yes, we got Jägermeister Cup action for you. Mike and I break down the groups as they approach their final match day in this interleague tournament, and the USL Championship takes the national stage. Multiple games on CBS Sports Network this week. We'll break them down for you.
Welcome back to downtown El Paso. 1-0 at the break, San Antonio. The visitors with an 11th minute goal from Juan Agudelo. 1-0 over Locomotive FC. But Locomotive not without its spell of heroics. Wahab Akwe certainly helped that along. Croniale, nice chip up and over. In it comes. Agudelo was there, but so was Akwe. The Ghanaian on it, and an important intervention for Locomotive FC. Tony Alfaro helps to clear the danger. But key defensive series there. Unfortunately, Locomotive trailing at the break for San Antonio after that defensive miscue. We'll get to the highlights and plenty more, including a look at stats as we continue.
Three, 2, 1.
Yeah!
Oh no! To the wall! Elijah Guile up and over in a big way.
Stronger, Dylan Harris for the second time this year.
I'm a 25-year truck driver. I've been driving for Rivas Enterprises for 6. I have 1 million miles. I'm home every weekend. The benefits and the respect that you get in this company is outstanding. If you're looking for a place to call home, call Rivas Enterprises.
He trabajado en otras compañías, pero desde que estoy trabajando para Rivas Enterprises siento que es la mejor compañía del Paso, Texas. El ambiente de trabajo, el compañerismo, los beneficios. Es un trabajo muy bonito aquí en Rivas Enterprises.
With more traffic back on El Paso highways, the potential for serious accidents is back too.
Insurance companies giving you the runaround? That's old news. What's real news is a lawyer who's got your back. I was born in El Paso, and I've been on the side for injured El Pasoans for over 20 years. I'm attorney Alexandria Zant. Call me today, and I'll give you the real scoop about your case.
Zant Law Firm, 799-0993. Or find us online at zantlawfirm.com.
Welcome back. Good crowd on hand to watch the fireworks both on the pitch and off afterward on this Independence Day. Duke Keith with you from San Antonio FC, a 1-0 lead over El Paso Locomotive as we take a look at the renovated Plaza Hotel. Beautiful old Art Deco hotel from the 30s here in El Paso, Texas. And over the top of that, we take a look at the halftime stats. San Antonio with more shots, each team with a shot on target. The possession, as you might expect, favoring Locomotive FC. San Antonio doesn't mind that, though. 43% is fine for them. Locomotive with 3 corners to 2. A couple of offside flags have gone up on Locomotive FC. And 2 yellow cards for San Antonio, notably on the goal scorer, Juan Agudelo, some 4 minutes after he scored the goal in the 11th. That's where we stand at the half. We'll come back, get ready for the second half, and have a look at our first half highlights. We continue from El Paso.
With more traffic back on El Paso highways, the potential for serious accidents is back too.
Insurance companies giving you the runaround? That's old news. What's real news is a lawyer who's got your back. I was born in El Paso, and I've been on the side for injured El Pasoans for over 20 years. I'm attorney Alexandria Zant. Call me today, and I'll give you the real scoop about your case.
Zant Law Firm, 799-0993. Or find us online at zantlawfirm.com. Celebrate the 4th of July all month long with Fun Country RV. Find huge discounts this month on boats and RVs. Get that perfect boat from Fun Country RV, where you'll find a huge selection like Landau, G3, and Viaggio. Fun Country RV is the largest parts dealer in the Southwest. Check out our parts and service department for all your boat and RV needs. Take the Anthony Exit 0 to Fun Country RV or find us online at funcountryrvs.com.
It all started with one couple's vision to farm pistachios in the desert. 50 years later, that dream lives on in heart of the desert, New Mexico's first and largest pistachio grove. The farm's success also fuels the dreams of other New Mexico entrepreneurs. Small batch bakers and ice cream and candy makers create delicious goodies from the farm's pistachios. A local winemaker produces quality wine from the farm's grapes. Heart of the Desert Pistachio and Wine. You can taste the tradition. Locations in Alamogordo, Mesilla, and Las Cruces.
You can buy a new car anywhere. What makes Casa different? The trust we've earned along the way. 55 years later, we're still growing bigger to serve you better. Now with 16 trusted brands. From everyday value to luxury and performance, with thousands to choose from all under one roof. And with our Casa Advantage, you get peace of mind with lifetime powertrain protection, free home delivery, and Casa's 7-day return policy. Bigger brands, better value, and the name you can trust. Casa, the home of the nice guys. Yeah!
Welcome back. Downtown El Paso is the place on this Independence Day evening. San Antonio FC with the lead. The visitors on the 11th minute goal by Juan Agudelo. How did we get here? Let's take a look at our first half highlights. Locomotive, some positive work. Beto Avila plops it into the 6, just splits the difference between Cabrera and Moreno. But there you see a little misplay at the back, and Juan Agudelo, just such a solid body, makes his own chance. and buries it. Agudelo, the 32-year-old former U.S. men's national teamer. Tony Alfaro fired up. Locomotive with a couple of defensive lapses, but started to really pick things up at the end of the first half. There's Daroma Moreno that comes to the porch, and Cabrera, you could see his adjustment, but makes the collision with Richard Sanchez. That's the play that put Sanchez out of the game. But a great challenge there. Turned aside by Daniel Nemani, his replacement, and off the corner kick just a step ahead of Wahab Akwe, or the match would have been tied. Wahab Akwe has come off the pitch in favor of Kofi Twumasi, the native of Kumasi, Ghana, to replace the man from Accra. So Twumasi at the center back spot, and Akwe, despite making that big defensive play, has had a very awkward first half. Just has not been his night. Certainly has been better for him, notably 2 weeks ago where he scored the opener versus Monterey Bay. But off at the break, and we'll see what that does on El Paso's back line as Twumasi, returning from injury, receives the second half kickoff. Well, that was an awkward sliding challenge right out of the break. And it's Thomas Snyder issuing a yellow card to Almir Soto. And you saw him motion to other parts of the field, although this is the opening half minute of our second half, clearly sliding in and keeping the studs exposed. And referee Thomas Snyder pointing to other parts of the field. Call that persistent infringement, but that may have been a yellow card all on its own. Just the way Thomas Snyder was pointing around, saying that's not his first infraction. So, yellow card in the opening seconds of the second half. That is the third San Antonio player to go into the book. Coronado, Alfaro. Locomotive is looking to go to three in the back right now, it appears, as Coronado slid into effectively a center back's role. You see Alfaro off on the left and Twumasi on the right. Try to give a little juice to that midfield and see if that might provide some help. That will go out for a Locomotive throw. San Antonio undefeated in 35 straight matches when leading at the half. Locomotive trying to break that string. And prime opportunity for one of these teams to make a little charge up the Western Conference standings is New Mexico United dropped their match versus Pittsburgh. The Riverhounds winning 1-0 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But everybody in touching distance near the top of the West. That includes Pittsburgh. We're being told, just as a point of order, for those of you who might be wondering as the game wears on, there will be no hydration break here in the second half. Temperatures have settled down quite a bit with the sun in behind the horizon. Here's Beto Avila. High cross, far post, nobody there. Out for a goal kick. Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier to the USL Championship. From the Academy to the big league, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. So we pointed out, each of these teams with the same number of wins at 6. But when it comes to ties and or draws and losses, Each team with those numbers reversed. 5 losses, 3 draws for San Antonio, 3 losses, 5 draws for Locomotive. And thus it's Locomotive in second place, even after a week off. Of course, lots of Jägermeister Cup action this last week. Going to this midway point of the USL Championship season. On to the second half from here. Locomotive, good pressure, but San Antonio handling things. And Daniel Nemani in relief of Richard Sanchez, I think, to the relief of Carlos Llamosa and the coaching staff for San Antonio, is picked up right where Sanchez left off. It's got to be one of the hardest positions on the field. Nemani in good position to receive this, although he blasts it right into Gabi Torres. Torres, it's a good keep by Alfaro. Nowhere for DeRoma to go up the pitch. Frank DeRoma. The Sierra Leonean. We talk about Diego Luna and his work with the Barca Residency Academy, where he came to the USL Championship from. DeRoma played his youth soccer there as well for a year prior to attending college. Cal Santa Barbara, Cal State San Bernardino later that year named their conference Freshman of the Year at Santa Barbara. Wasn't that school used to, did they have the name the Banana Slugs at one point? I forgot, or no, that's Santa Cruz. It's got to be Santa Cruz. Yeah, Santa Barbara's a little more hoity-toity from what I hear. Did you think you'd hear the words hoity-toity in a sports broadcast? 52nd minute. Good to see the folks from Copa Tejas here in El Paso. The first leg of the two between these two teams. Second one will come late in the season in San Antonio. Austin Bold won the inaugural Copa Tejas. I like on the nameplates that there was a turnover by Locomotive. That's a good challenge, and the foul will give a free kick back to El Paso. A little too much from Berron, the Argentinian. As Quesada, none the worse for wear, gets loose from him, and little step. As I was saying, the Copa Tejas Trophy 2020, the champion was COVID-19. They've actually got a plate on the Copa Tejas Trophy for COVID. Hey, you know, they didn't award the trophy that year, obviously. And an explanation why. All told in the trophy. The trophy tells all. Jamali waiting for that on the bounce. But both of these teams, after Austin Bold won the inaugural Copa Tejas, with 2 wins apiece. Locomotive, the current holders of the cup. And trying to hang on, though, San Antonio in good shape right here. Torres. Another foul. Locomotive systematic right now. A little too quick in the restart. But no flow really to this second half at all. In the opening 8+ minutes, Tomasi. Chipped ball over the top, nobody in powder blue on the other side. Though Cabrera appreciates the effort. They haven't been able to find the feet of Andy Cabrera, I think, as much as they'd like for Locomotive as we enter the 55th minute. Wilmer Cabrera looking for answers for this offense. San Antonio can certainly be deliberate. They don't mind that possession has favored the home team. The further this goes, the more you appreciate the physicality of Juan Agudelo in his 11th minute goal. Yes, you're taking advantage of a mistake as that's a takedown play on. Coronado taking off the ball, and the shot whistled up and over. Having a go from distance, Almir Soto did not stay down for it. Have a take. Why not? Waite seemingly had his angles covered. And here is Torres. Wants something off to the right side. Nicely settled, Cabrera, but taken away. Good effort by Medranda. Keeps a hold of the ball. Back to Medranda. Nice 1-2. LaCava. And they'll keep possession. Reese Buckmaster will reset it. Good takeaway. Calvillo, DeRoma, and Tomasi. Up the right wing side. Good effort there, and drawing the contact for the foul is Quesada. It's just a good challenge. Good individual work by Quesada. Saw an opening, took it, draws the contact, and wins a free kick for Locomotive. And another San Antonio player goes into the book, Luke Hawkinson. Strike it. Nicky Hernandez. Yeah. Take down from the back. Not going for the ball at all. So Nicky Hernandez, the former United man, into the book. Locomotive with a free kick. And we are very happy to welcome. What is your title, Andrew? Can you say officially? Oh, okay. It's not on yet. Let's see. Let's try that. Nope. Still nothing. Quesada over the top. Ooh, almost spilled and finally gathered by Namani, who runs into his own player and escapes a pretty dangerous situation. So, not working yet. We have Andrew Forrest in here with us. We'll get to Andrew here in a little bit. All right, so now looks like we've got it straight. Andrew, what is your title?
That's
Mr.
a great
Everything,
question.
I know that.
I'm here. I am here. I believe my title today is General Manager, Business and Technical Operations.
General Manager, Business and Technical Operations.
That covers about everything.
Yeah, I was about to say, that does cover a lot of ground. Happy to have you up here with us.
No, it's great to be back up here with you, Duke.
And a solid crowd tonight here at Southwest University Park.
Great crowd tonight. One of still counting all the people, I think, but we're looking at maybe one of the best ever in club history.
That is wonderful to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's certainly a buzz around the fireworks show and the 4th of July, and looking for something to do. And I think this is a great outlet for people to come check out a game and enjoy some fireworks afterwards.
Well, both of these teams have provided some fireworks on the pitch as well from time to time, and I know you're familiar with the San Antonio organization, having been in the Alamo City before you came to El Paso.
Yeah, absolutely. San Antonio's always been a tough team to play. They've always been tough with us, and today's proven to be no different. So hopefully we can get, as you mentioned earlier, get a little more flow into this game from both teams. But we've had nice possession and recovered well from the early mistake. But it doesn't count or doesn't matter until we put something in the back of the net.
I'm sure the crowd would love to see that. I think this is a crowd that's ready to cheer for the home side, but just looking for those opportunities. And San Antonio perfectly happy to keep things nice and quiet.
Yeah, absolutely. It's walking around the concourse earlier. The people are looking for something, some excitement, and something to give them a reason to cheer. I think they're ready for that, and hopefully we can provide something in the last 30.
Well, certainly the first number of games, the first 5 here at Southwest University Park, and really the first maybe third of the season has been spectacular this year for Wilmer Cabrera and Locomotive FC. It's kind of settled down as you know it will. It is absolutely a marathon, a season that goes from March all the way through October and into November if you're fortunate to go that far. Of
course.
But for this Locomotive side, what are you looking to see? I know we said goodbye to Tumimo Shaban. Are they looking to make any moves?
Yeah, I think we're looking at some players, as most teams in this league, I believe, are looking for pieces. Everybody's trying to improve their position. You've got 2 teams that on the field right now that I think are 2 and 3 in a very competitive Western Conference. And again, as I mentioned, you expect nothing less when these 2 teams get together. So it's exactly what you would expect. There's no blowouts in this rivalry at all. Certainly, with Copa Tejas on the line, it adds a little bit extra. But you mentioned a long season. There's 2 cups this year. There's the Jägermeister Cup as well as the U.S. Open Cup plus the regular season. So there's a lot going on. And as Gabby looks like maybe Torres winds up here.
Nice cross, headed just over the bar. Eric Calvillo was there, beautifully worked. That was a hard turn to make, but a beautiful effort by Gabi Torres to put it into a dangerous spot.
Yeah, so I think you're starting to see a little more consistency and a little more comfortability in the ball. We've got to remember, I don't know that if this was talked about, but we had a mental health break that's mandatory for each team. We just came off of ours, so it honestly looked a little rusty in the first half, some miscommunication and just getting back into the flow of things. But I think what you're starting to see here is maybe trying to recapture some of those really nice performances from earlier in the year, and it's coming. We know that this side's good enough. They've just got to put it together. I know Gabi Torres is good enough. I know Eric Calvillo is good enough. So let's just see in the last 30 if we can put something together.
Into just about the 63rd minute here tonight in El Paso.
A couple changes here.
So 2 substitutions. Ricky Reis and Memo Diaz. Robert Coronado and Alvaro Quesada off the pitch.
I think this is something
starting the second half at center back.
I think this is something that should be noted. I think Wilmer does an excellent job of making the right subs at the right time, the right personnel at the right time of the moment. I think Rob's struggled a little bit. Coronado has struggled a little bit today, just a little bit off. Give him some time to work through it. But with a third of the game still to go, bring on some fresh legs and some guys in important positions, and to have to be fortunate enough to have Ricky Ruiz and Memo Diaz to come off your bench is quite a luxury. So you don't think you lose anything by 2 starters going out and bringing in 2 bench guys, because I firmly say this all the time. I believe this team has 22 starters on it. You can only put 11 on the field at any one time.
Depth has certainly been a factor. Long pass, open over, off the head of Beto Avila, who appreciates the effort. Coming in from left wing, Ricky Ruiz. First touch of the ball, pretty solid pass.
Yeah, I mean, I think that punctuates the point I just made. Is you've got a guy that's taking his first 2 touches and he whips a ball in, and it's inches away from finding the target. So the pressure is mounting, and San Antonio is gonna have to outlast some pressure from Locomotive. But they've also got Mitch Tainer back there, who is a stalwart in defense, and he will keep them organized.
It's a physical challenge by Medranda, but
it's a physical game.
San Antonio, obviously, in its 10th season as a USL Championship side, they're celebrating their 10th anniversary in the Alamo City as a part of the United Soccer Leagues. And obviously the San Antonio Scorpions from the NASL before that. This is an organization that's been around. They won a championship in 2022 with a very different style of play. This seems to be a lot more pragmatic from Carlos Llamosa.
You've got to look at, from their perspective, this is game 15 or 16 with a brand new coach, with new ideas and a new voice. They've had a very consistent voice in Alan Marcina for 5, 6, 7 seasons, and they've had a lot of success with him. And to make a change like this at the top, as we know very well, it's hard. It's very difficult to be consistent and to motivate players and find the right guys and potentially change a system. And I think Carlos Llamosa, their head coach, who we know well from the Cosmos days, is a very capable coach who's been with Savarese all over the place and seen some really good coaching and has some really good ideas. They started really hot this year.
Good effort trying to keep it. Agudelo is going to win that back. Danger not cleared yet. San Antonio FC. Good sidestep, good side-footed effort, but ultimately sliced wide. It's a good effort by Nicky Hernandez. San Antonio about to bring on Dmitry Erofeev, the Russian midfielder, here very shortly. That'll be their first substitution proper in the game. Obviously, Richard Sanchez coming off a concussion sub. We were pointing out in the first half, I think that's a wonderful rule and really needed, I think, is, concussion protocol becomes a bigger and bigger deal in sport.
Yeah, absolutely. The science is there. We know that it's extremely dangerous, and there can be some detrimental, long-lasting effects from concussion. So it is important to take that very seriously, and I'm glad that he was able to get out, use a free sub, and get him the care that he needs so that he can sacrifice today to play tomorrow.
Daniel Nemani has done a very good job in relief. Here's DeRoma. DeRoma has it go. Had to be stopped. The shot and the score. Ready to pounce. Armando Moreno. Nemani couldn't control the rebound. Moreno ties the match.
That's what they teach you from an early age, is to follow the shot. He spilled the shot. We were there to capitalize. 1-1. Crowd is going absolutely bonkers.
This near-capacity crowd at Southwest University Park salutes the home side. Armando Moreno. But let's not take anything away from the effort of Frank DeRoma. The guy is always so hard to bring down in traffic, but he's also got a little burst to him.
He can definitely has a little pop to that shot, and then that low center of gravity, it's hard to take the ball off of him. He's extremely strong. What he may lack in height, he makes up for in again, low center of gravity, good balance, and being very, very difficult to get off the ball. A great initial save by the keeper as well. Just got to be clean.
The 5th goal of the season for Armando Moreno.
Game on now.
So let's mind your P's and Q's. Erofeev about to come on. So Erofeev coming on for Juan Agudelo, who has run a pretty solid race tonight. Double sub for the visitors. Jimmy Medranda coming off as well. Abdi Salim gets him on as well.
Yeah, Moreno with his 5th goal of the season, as mentioned, I think a player that's really come to blossom was with arch rivals New Mexico for a number of years. Had a ton of success. Unfortunately, had a bit of an injury, and had the opportunity to bring him down here, and was a big target of Brian Claerhaus, and rightfully so. He was sought after by many clubs throughout the league, but we were able to bring him in, and he's done what we wanted him to do. He's provided leadership, and he's provided goals and assists, and some creative play in the final third, which is what you're looking for. Guys like Moreno don't grow on trees in this league, so to be able to get him and try to keep him here as long as we can is something that's really important to the club.
Well, obviously, contracts go like 1 or 2 years usually in the USL Championship. He's finishing up his 2nd season, and really absolutely huge to keep. Oh, there's a turnover. Good work, Cabrera. Calvillo turning, slides it in. Avila chipped up and over. Did San Antonio get a piece? They did. Corner kick coming. When we talk about Moreno, one of the key things I think about Moreno has been he doesn't mind that Andy Cabrera's got the 10 goals and has been the star man, at least in putting the ball in the back of the net. Amando's got his 5. He's also got assists. And he has been perfectly fine to be the guy who unlocks a lot of what happens up the pitch for Locomotive offensively.
No, absolutely. I think this is a really great and true team. That might be a phrase that's overused from time to time in sports, but I do believe that these guys work hard for each other and believe in one another and are looking to assist and score when they need to get the results that we're looking for, which are W's, which we've had a lot more of this year than we have in recent memory.
Cabrera trying to get position to get on that ball and will actually be whistled for the foul. Too quick on the restart, but Locomotive has tied things up. Into the 71st minute we go. Locomotive certainly the fresher legs now. San Antonio has just made a couple of substitutions, but as you point out, it is truly game on.
Yeah, and I think since I've been up here, we're getting a little more and more possession. And we're starting to look at a little more and more dangerous than we were certainly in the first half, and that's what we expect from this team.
Long switch. Well received, but blocked. Buckmaster. Carlos Llamosa. He and Wilmer Cabrera have to know each other very well, former Colombian national teamers, and obviously Llamosa in his storied MLS career spent a little time with Chivas USA, which is where Cabrera was when the lights turned off for that squad.
Yeah, that was a failed experiment.
That was not a great deal, but certainly outstanding work for the San Antonio squad, as you point out, in his very first season. But I think it would be remiss of us not to talk about another young star man. We talked about Frank DeRoma, who spent his time with Barca Residency Academy. Probably its most notable alum would be this young man, Diego Luna. And what a match for the United States and the men's national team in the Gold Cup semifinals. 2 goals in the opening minutes of that game in St. Louis. A very heavy Guatemala crowd, and Diego Luna wearing the number 10 and representing the United States in with aplomb.
He is special, as we all know, and we've all seen as he's grown. He came here, I think, almost 16, almost turning 17, and very quickly became the best player on the team. And he's gone on a meteoric rise. MLS Young Player of the Year, MLS All-Star, first full national team caps. He did very well at the underage levels. We'll catch back up in a second.
Calvillo, nice cross, dangerous, well handled.
Good save.
Namani. That was awkward. Thomas Snyder not whistling a foul. Not blowing the whistle there.
But I think Diego's, the Gold Cup is certainly his coming out party. I think Pochettino loves him, loves his, when he bloodied his nose in San Antonio in a friendly, and he wouldn't come out. He's playing with nose plugs. I think Pochettino loved that, and has given him opportunities. And I think life is about, when you're given opportunities, what do you do with them? Well, he's done a lot with his, and he's scored 3 goals in the last 2 games. I believe, as you mentioned, had an assist. And I think it's Diego Luna time, something that El Paso's known for a number of years. But now I think the nation knows, and other parts of the world might be trying to take notice here as well, because I think he's still at a great age. He's got a long way to go and can continue to improve. But man, and he's a great kid. For those that may not know, I texted him after the game, and I didn't necessarily expect him to respond. Within 45 minutes, and I imagine he must have had 1,000 text messages after that game. He responded very quickly, very kindly, and he's an absolute class act. He's been a great kid, great parents, and continue to watch him grow and start to dominate, because he's wearing that 10 shirt, and those are some big shoes to fill on the national team, and he's doing it.
It's incredible. It is obviously Barca Residency Academy has produced some solid players. Maybe none with the name Diego Luna has right now.
Not right now. Certainly, Miles Lyons was here for a number of years. Another great kid, great player. He's with Monterey Bay now, but he was a product of Barcelona Academy. And then Ivan Militar, our former youth director of the academy and youth soccer, also not necessarily as a player, but was there as a coach for a number of years and coached those young men, and all the way back to Mark Lowry, having a keen interest in the products that they put out, and they put out some serious players, and continue and will continue to do so.
But this was his first stop as a pro, and obviously, if he, a lot of people are starting to talk about Diego maybe making the jump over the pond, so to speak, to go somewhere. Perhaps as soon as this year, maybe not necessarily this year, but he's certainly playing himself into conversations. How much is that? How much is that important to this team? Because you had a pretty good sell-on fee to get him to Real Salt Lake. Whatever happens in Europe, you get a piece of this as well. It's the way things work in this sport.
Without going into too much detail, for multiple reasons, we would love to see Diego more so for the personal and professional opportunity that it would give him to shine on a even bigger stage. Would be amazing for him, and that's, I think, probably the first and foremost. Oh boy.
Yeah, Nicky Hernandez draws the contact from Reis, and a very dangerous free kick. The caution on Reis here in the 77th minute. And solid work by Hernandez, the former United man. Dallas native, shaking and baking on that touchline. Not a lot in that.
Not a lot in that at all. Nice to beat the initial defender. Knew he couldn't get there to the next touch, so he fell down, and he got bailed out. And now this is an extremely dangerous position.
Frank DeRoma making sure it doesn't go fast. But yes, and how cool was it? Well, we'll wait for this free kick, and I'll ask you one more question before we wrap here.
As soon as Diego scored that second goal, I was like, my phone's going to explode in 3, 2, and it did.
It was amazing. And there's another yellow card issued to Armando Moreno. Delay of game, as perhaps he didn't give the space he was expected to. So 2 cautions issued on this one play, and it will be Hernandez. To take the free kick.
This is an interesting position. There's a lot of different ways this could go.
Such an awkward area. Right off the 18, right along the touch or the byline. Obviously a right-footed effort. You'd think out swinger. Didn't have to swing out much. As Thomas Snyder separates the scrum.
Jamali's positioning is going to be very interesting on this.
Keeping an eye on his near post. And now it's all kicking off. Well, no love lost between these two sides.
I was going to say, I'm surprised it took this long.
Oh.
Here we go.
Reese Buckmaster. Armando Moreno down on the turf inside the 6. And I've always thought, like, certainly there's a certain amount of gamesmanship going on in situations like these, but to what end?
This 1-1, maybe that's enough for San Antonio, but they're certainly capable of more if they, it's...
Well, they've got a golden opportunity, right?
Absolutely, and
players having to be separated. Of course, a couple of seasons ago, the match ended in a scrum.
Yeah, we need to wrap this up here, Duke. I might have to go down there in a few minutes.
Right? Yeah, no lie. We're headed to the 80th minute. Well, then, we'll allow this opportunity. I'll ask you one more question.
Sure.
How cool was it to hear the Locomotive FC name bandied about on national, if not international, broadcasts, podcasts? Diego Luna on the Pat McAfee show, for Pete's sake, yesterday.
Yeah, probably nothing anybody thought about 3 or 4 years ago would happen, but to hear Landon Donovan, one of the American greats, to who he's certainly intimately familiar with this league and with Locomotive, to mention Diego and call us by name is special, and it does help spread the word globally and can do nothing but help us.
Absolutely. Andrew, we appreciate you taking some time.
As always, Duke, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Andrew Forrest, General Manager, Business Operations, and plenty more besides. We appreciate Andrew for his efforts. Gotcha. Buckmaster into the book for San Antonio. And now, we're going to have some serious stoppage time in this. Big opportunity once again, Nicky Hernandez. Carlos Llamosa talking things over with our fourth official, Abdul Razak Juma. Thomas Snyder has the book out, urging everybody to stay calm. So the yellow on Reese Buckmaster. We'll call it the 80th minute, but who knows? We're into the 81st now. And again, Frank DeRoma just making sure Nicky Hernandez doesn't start things up too quickly. The Locomotive will use this opportunity to bring in 2 more players, Noah Dolenmeyer and Frank Lopez. Gabi Torres has run a solid race tonight. Another one of those interceptions. We talked about that, and Beasley Mitchell and company crunching the numbers. 25 interceptions coming in. He has at least one more of those. So Beto Avila comes off. Frank Lopez comes on. Torres and Avila off the pitch, but Locomotive bringing on some very talented and fresher legs. Frank Lopez still waiting for his first goal. But he and Noah Dolenmeyer, certainly a physical presence on this restart. Arofeev standing with Nicky Hernandez. San Antonio about ready to make a double sub as well. And again, each team, if you miss that, we'll wait for this free kick. Hernandez, Arofeev. Arofeev in swinging ball to the far post. Alfaro gets ahead to it. Hernandez lofts it back into the box. Taking a swing and scoring on that far side, wide open. Croniale. Untouched, unmarked at the edge of the 6. And had all the time in the world to volley that exactly where he wanted. 83rd minute goal. San Antonio retakes the lead. The native of Columbus, Ohio. Former Maryland Terp. Just take your time and let it come to your foot. And Croniale virtually couldn't miss. San Antonio FC. Huge free kick. And after all of that, Locomotive finding itself on the short end. Croniale. That's a big one. It's his first goal for the club this year. As Nicky Hernandez comes off, that'll be his last touches, and Walker coming on to replace him. You saw the stats, Croniale completing 739 passes coming into the match. That's 9th in the USL. Former Columbus Crew, his native Columbus, Ohio. Brother Eli plays for Birmingham Legion. Another free kick for San Antonio. It's Locomotive. Crowd trying to urge them into this. San Antonio, 35 straight matches undefeated when leading at the half. And that is certainly a record in good standing here tonight. Tomasi clears it away. Locomotive, after all of that stoppage and scrumming, has got to find a way to get some flow back into this game. Out for a Locomotive throw. Both teams making a raft of substitutions. And before that free kick, we were going to tell you, of course, Richard Sanchez ruled a concussion sub, which means that substitution doesn't count for San Antonio, and Locomotive gets a 6th. Noah Dolenmeyer, DeRoma, Calvillo. Memo Diaz, nicely done. Lopez with 3 on him. Perron picked up that last yellow card for San Antonio. Good moves. Keeping a hold of that, Cabrera. That is Diaz. Wants a handball. He won't get it. Throw in coming. Or will it? It indeed is a handball. Locomotive with a free kick. In close to the same spot, San Antonio got the, as of now, match-winning goal from. Locomotive, though, needing to find answers. Obviously, San Antonio, a height advantage. Here is Calvillo. And Reese. Calvillo to the far post, popped off of Namani, out for a corner. For Locomotive FC, this will be corner kick number 5 on the night. Should be noted, Locomotive did come back from a 2-0 deficit against San Antonio. Nolan Dolenmeyer, obviously Locomotive's main aerial threat. Did draw a crowd from San Antonio, as you would imagine. That one will roll out, and free kick coming for San Antonio. They'll play it out of the back in the 89th minute. I'm sure as in the first half, there'll be a few minutes of stoppage time. But San Antonio in the lead in the live standings, have them a point out of first place, which is still held by New Mexico. Locomotive would have had to pull a full 3 points. They'd be happy for one at this stage. Into the 90th minute. From El Paso, Texas, can Locomotive find an answer? Calvillo Cabrera. Frustrating night for El Paso's leading scorer. Hasn't really been close other than that awkward challenge versus Richard Sanchez in the first half. That's about as close as he's come tonight. 8 minutes of stoppage is what we're hearing. Andrew Forrest alluded to it. 8,432 on hand on this Independence Day night, to watch Locomotive FC. That is the largest crowd in club history. And El Paso will respond with a nice fireworks show after the match. They'd love to have one here. Tomasi draws the contact. 8 minutes of stoppage time. The signal has gone up. So ample opportunity for Locomotive to try and make something work. That is not a foul. Locomotive will have the ball back. Alfaro. Tomasi. Diaz. Ruiz. The switch. Moreno. Certainly ready to go one-on-one, but one-on-two, a different story. Good touch by Arofiev. Good stay-at-home move by the Russian. That'll slice away and roll out of touch for a Locomotive throw. Obviously, Noah Dolenmeyer returning from his Gold Cup duty with the Dominican Republic. Locomotive happy to have him, and certainly free kicks, corner kicks, anything where his head can come into play, frankly, is a good thing. At 6'5", certainly one of the tallest on the pitch, though San Antonio does have a couple near his height. Well, it has been a solid and very pragmatic effort for Carlos Llamosa's team tonight. And they've got the lead to prove it. Into the second of 8 in stoppage time here in El Paso. Locomotive desperate to come up for answers, with answers for its club record home crowd. Alfaro lifted an MLS Cup with Seattle back in the day. Tomasi. Daroma certainly took his opportunity, saw an opening right up the middle, and it was his initial shot, parried away by Namani, that fell to the feet of Amando Moreno. At the time, that tied it up. But San Antonio has gone ahead 2-1 on another set-piece opportunity. Here's Tomasi. Oh, that is just wide. Frank Lopez was there. Namani comes off his line to challenge, but Lopez could not put that on frame. The Cuban. That's a great dish. Couple of good looks here, and Lopez puts it out. Struggled for fitness in the very early parts of the season. Led Miami FC, the Miami FC, with 7 goals last year in a very frustrating campaign, trying to restart things for another one of his former coaches in Wilmer Cabrera from their RGV days. That is lofted well up and over. Quick restart, Jamali Waite. Calvillo and Daroma. Moreno puts it into space. Off his line to make sure it goes nowhere else. Namani, who again has done a great job in relief of Richard Sanchez, out in the opening half. A concussion substitution in the 34th minute. Namani has now obviously had the majority of time in goal for San Antonio, and he's done a fine job. The crowd trying to help Locomotive on for a final push here in the 95th minute. Nice back heel. Ruiz to Moreno. The challenge, and San Antonio wanting a foul as Moreno slid over the top of Perron. And there will be a caution issued for Moreno. And obviously the free kick. Oh my. And Moreno is off the pitch. For Moreno, a second yellow. His first coming in the 77th, the second in stoppage time. And Armando Moreno is sent off. We'll see if we can pick up the challenge and if there was anything in that. Moreno tripped and fell over. Wow. Perron taking out his feet. Moreno not trying, I don't think, to leave something in. He wanted play to continue. I don't agree with that second yellow. I really don't. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 San Antonio players. 8 of the starting 11 have yellow cards for the visitors. For Locomotive, 1, 2, 3, 4 cautions, and this would be the 5th, the second yellow on Armando Moreno. So I think Thomas Snyder responding to the ear full of criticism he got from the San Antonio players sends Armando Moreno off here in stoppage time. So Locomotive with the throw in. After all of that, it's a Locomotive throw, which I don't get. If it's a yellow card, isn't that a foul? Shouldn't it be a San Antonio free kick? I don't know. Either way, it's a Locomotive throw, and it will be again. Yeah, I don't agree with that second yellow. Certainly it has been physical tonight from both teams. Eric Calvillo. A long switch trying to find Cabrera. It has been a long, frustrating evening for number 13. Always solid, same expression, and that's good to see. You don't see a lot of antics, remonstrations. Andy Cabrera, all business. But we're into the final of 8 added tonight in El Paso. Certainly Daniel Namani will take his time on the restart here. Soccer season is here. SeatGeek, the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site. SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Restart goes out for a San Antonio throw. Free kick earned, San Antonio FC in absolutely no hurry. And a reminder, if you can't watch the match, you can turn on Sirius XM FC channel 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesday nights, plus live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. Sirius XM FC 157 and the new Sirius XM FC app. Well, actually, I don't think FC has its own app. Good work Trying to draw the foul, and they're going to give it. DeRoma. Now, showing some signs of frustration as Alex Grieve draws the contact, wins the foul, and they'll play it in the corner. And now a scrum. It'll pop out. There's Noah Dolenmeyer. Underrated feet for a big man. Out it comes, corner of the box. The shot deflected. San Antonio trying to keep it in play. They do. Alfaro draws the foul from Berron. But we have played well past the 8 added. Obviously, a couple of stoppages here, and into the 100th minute we go. And that's all. The final score tonight, San Antonio with the late match winner from Croniale in the 83rd takes a 2-1 win over Locomotive FC. Hermosa San Antonio FC that vaults into second place in the West after New Mexico loses on the road to Pittsburgh today to improve to 7-5-3 and leapfrog El Paso Locomotive in the process. We'll take a break and be back to take a look at the highlights and plenty more to wrap things up tonight. Your final score, Locomotive FC 1, San Antonio FC 2.
With more traffic back on El Paso highways, the potential for serious accidents is back too.
Insurance companies giving you the runaround? That's old news. What's real news is a lawyer who's got your back. I was born in El Paso, and I've been on the side for injured El Pasoans for over 20 years. I'm attorney Alexandria Zant. Call me today, and I'll give you the real scoop about your case.
Zant Law Firm, 799-0993. Or find us online at zantlawfirm.com. Celebrate the 4th of July all month long with Fun Country RV. Find huge discounts this month on boats and RVs. Get that perfect boat from Fun Country RV, where you'll find a huge selection like Landau, G3, and Viaggio. Fun Country RV is the largest parts dealer in the Southwest. Check out our parts and service department for all your boat and RV needs. Take the Anthony Exit 0 to Fun Country RV or find us online at funcountryrbs.com.
Welcome back. Your final score tonight, Locomotive FC dropped its second USL Championship home match and its third straight here at home, and trying to break their way out of trouble. Locomotive FC loses to the visitor San Antonio FC 2-1 as San Antonio vaults ahead of Locomotive into second place in the West. So we take a look at your GECU save of the game. Alvaro Quesada right on the porch. That's a good stab to keep it away from Alex Grignale, who will eventually get the match winner tonight. But not before Quesada helps clear the danger off the 6-yard box. Your physical therapy, balance, and hand centers play of the match, Wahab Akwe. Had his issues, Grignale had some excellent chip up and over, but Akwe was there to keep Agudelo at bay. Agudelo scored the opener in the 11th minute. And your estrella of the match tonight, Tony Alfaro, Gabi Torres. Outstanding work by Gabi Torres, who subbed out in the second half. But another great interception, some key moments really drove a lot of what was going on, but Locomotive league-wise looking for answers after dropping another home match in front of the club record crowd gathered at Southwest University Park on this Independence Day Eve. 2-1 the final score, San Antonio over Locomotive FC. For our producer Colin Deaver and all of us here at Southwest University Park, I'm Duke Keith. Locomotive looking for answers. San Antonio into second. But Locomotive back in action next weekend. We'll see how things go then. 2-1 your final score. San Antonio with the victory. For all of us here in El Paso, so long everybody. There we go. Hello check, hello check, hello check. Checking one.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.